Well, good morning. I've been told I can start. Kick this thing off. So this is a old Kate Wolf song. Give Yourself to Love. If you know it, feel free to sing along, and sing along even if you don't know it, because I don't know it sometimes too. Well, kind friends all gathered round, there's something I would say. That what brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. So give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain, I've learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, though I never did know how. But like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. So give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Now love is born in fire, it's planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you are ready, love comes when you're afraid. It'll be your greatest teacher, best friend you have made. So give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. You must give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Seems like an absolutely most appropriate song to start our pet blessing service. You know, the love that you get from your animals, the unconditional, it's just, I don't know, I don't really know what else I can say about it, because all of us that have them and experience that, you know what I'm talking about. And it's kind of, to me, it's one of those really, really big thank you gods. Yeah.
Hello. What are you doing?
I'm standing here saying good morning.
Oh, good morning, everybody.
And I'm saying good morning to Reverend Charles.
Yeah.
That's doing our pet blessing service today. And I'm saying good morning to John, who's our musician, and to his wife, Blythe. And welcome everybody that's here today. As far as I'm concerned, our pet blessing service is one of the really, really biggies of the year. And it's just, it's incredibly special. Okay, now.
I brought the goldfish.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? He tried to explain that to me the other day. I didn't know what he was talking about.
All right.
And I brought a dog.
We're going to talk about what's going on?
And I brought another dog, too,
All right.
but she's not well enough behaved. She's in the car waiting till the blessing part.
What's going on?
What's going on? Well,
Nellie's having surgery tomorrow.
hold it.
Oh,
I didn't light the Christ candle yet, aren't I
well, you
supposed
want to
to
do that? No, you're supposed to do that after you get rid of me,
Okay,
I guess.
okay.
Whatever. Nellie's having surgery tomorrow. They're going to take out that lousy kidney stone. She's doing great. So, Nellie, my goodness. I'm surprised she doesn't do surgery on herself. Anyway, but she's having that down at St. Vincent's, and Sandra's going to be with her.
Yep.
So that's going to be a good thing.
And I have a card for us to sign,
Yeah.
so I've got it somewhere. I know it's here.
We got a really good crowd of our critters today. That's really nice to see. Some of our other critters couldn't be with us. Oliver's on road trip to California with Terry.
Yeah.
And, some of them, but a lot of them are here. I brought the goldfish.
And we also have pictures of animals to be blessed that weren't able to be here. So we have that as well. And Terry was also going to bring her bird, but since she had to be in California yesterday,
She couldn't give us the bird. No, okay. Next week, Reverend Jean will be here. Do we have a topic yet? No. We'll get one. We'll find out. So,
hopefully before Friday, so it can be an e-blast.
and Reverend Susan Dorn will be with her doing the singing. So that's a good time. That's always a great service for us. So that'll be fun. I suspect we'll have not so Reverend Mike Test being here doing his guitar thing. And that'll be good too. That's fun. If you guys haven't seen my e-blast and gone on and listened, I've got a video there of Mike doing his guitar thing last week. And it's really nice. You ought to click into it. Let me know if you're not on the email list and I'll fix you up. Okay. Card for Nellie, you talked about that.
Yes.
Have you been to the old church in Glen Eden Beach, which is now the Red Roof Cafe and Rockstar Place? I don't know where it's called.
I can't find it.
We have cards somewhere.
We have cards.
Advertising it. I stopped by there, and those people that bought our church down here in Glen Eden Beach have done an incredibly amazing job in rebuilding that place and turning it into something really nice.
Really nice, and the bread is delicious.
Oh, it is. It's great. I had a coffee and a
Scone.
very small scone or two.
Or two?
It was great. So if you get a chance, stop by the Red Roof, it's now called, and see what they've done. It's really great.
One side is bakery and espresso, and the old sanctuary is a wine shop.
So it works good. Got little tables
It's a really nice lounge and the old piano they've got up on a...
on a pedestal thing.
Somebody comes through, they play tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe we ought to have a road trip. Maybe I'll schedule a road trip. We'll go down there one day after church one day or something.
They don't serve wine until 4.
Well, I don't care. We'll go down there and eat bagels. They did tell me they get a lot of people coming in and say that they used to go to church there. A lot of people, some people came in and said, well, we got married in this church. They said, well, you did? Well, okay. Well, are you still married? They asked them. They said, no, we're not still married. So I said, well, tell you what. When that happens to you again, somebody comes in like that, say, well, next time you want to get married, come on in, we'll get you married, and we'll give you a free bagel. So, we'll do what we can to support them. Okay, that's it. I'm out of here.
Bye.
Bye.
Now I can light the Christ candle?
You can do that. You want me to hold the dog while you do that? She don't
No, I'm
burn
going to
her
see if I
nose.
can set her on fire. She's behaving, so let's just leave her alone. You don't watch that? No, you don't want to test that, then talk. And this is just a reminder, a visual reminder that of the Christ light that is in all of us at all points in time. anytime you feel alone, upset, happy, anything at all, you can always call on that because it is always there for us. And it's just like, so that's what that is, and that's how come that's there. And now I think I'm supposed to ask Reverend Charles to do the opening prayer.
Happy to do that.
Yes.
Happy to do that. Good morning. It's wonderful to be together and to be with our friends who know how to bless us. Let us pray. Generous God, thank you for the Sabbath day where we feel called to turn toward your light, to know the light within us, and to lift our heads and see the light in each of us. Thank you for your instruction that this day is for rest, that we are to loaf and meander, that we leave our desks, we leave our work, and we simply feel the full joy of living in that peace. Thank you for this day that lifts you up and that lifts us up with you. Amen.
Thank you, Charles. And now I'm going to remind you of our prayer box. You will find prayer requests on the back of the pews. So if you have a request, by all means, fill it out. You can put it in the brass bowls when they go around, or we have a prayer corner back there with a drawer in it. And let's see, this is the last Sunday of September. Okay. Normally, the last Sunday of September, Nellie takes all of these and sends them back to Silent Unity. But since she isn't with us today, I will take them and make sure that they get in the mail this week for Silent Unity. And they are then prayed over for an additional 30 days in the Silent Unity Chapel. So a lot of power goes into what you put in this little box. One of the reasons I appreciate it so much is that for me, when I write it down and put it in there, I can let go of it. And then I remind myself if it pops up again, no, wait a minute, I handed this over. Higher power is going to take care of this, so I can let it go. And for me personally, I find that helpful. Helps keep me from grabbing it back and having to stew about it or worry about it. And now, if you will take your September affirmation card out of your bulletin, we will do the one for Unity by the Sea first. Together, Unity by the Sea is enriched by our love of all living things. And for ourselves, I am enriched by my love of all living things. How appropriate. And we just happen to have a few of them with us today. Oh, and now John's going to do special music. Yes. And this is something that this song is normally done at Christmas time, but it's an absolute favorite of John's, and so he asked him if he would do it today. And you'll understand. It's really a cool song.
Well, yeah, this is generally a Christmas song because it's a Christmas story from the donkey's point of view. Mm-hmm. Whoops, better turn this on. Better. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Oh, Jesus in the manger, lying in the hay, much too young to realize he's getting in the way. I don't blame the baby, not his fault at all, but his parents should respect the donkey's feeding stall. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Oh, after all that journey with my heavy load, did I ever once complain about that dreadful road? I can cope with backache and these swollen feet. All I ask is some respect and one square meal to eat. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Be prepared, I told them, better book ahead. Joseph said, don't be an ass, and took a chance instead. Now they pinched my bedroom, people are so rude. All I ask is some respect. Miss that one. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. Hee-haw, hee-haw, doesn't anybody care? There's a baby in my dinner and it's just not fair. It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Thank you, John. Oh. Well, I didn't follow the program today and I missed the daily word. And I hadn't asked anybody to do it. So guess what? I think I will do the daily word. Today for Sunday, September 25th, 2016, the word is whole. I accept wholeness as the divine blueprint of my being. Wholeness is the divine design of my being. When I align my thinking with this truth, I invigorate wholeness in every atom and cell. Myrtle Fillmore wrote, quote, God is the one perfect life flowing through us. God is the only reality of us. All else is but a shadow, unquote. I focus my awareness on patterns or beliefs that are not part of God's will for me. I bring negative self-talks and doubts out of the shadow and release them into the light of transformation. Releasing lifts my consciousness to a new expectancy of wholeness. I speak words of truth, love, and gratitude to my body. My whole being, body, mind, and spirit, responds to divine life. I am renewed. From Luke 11:36 we have, if then your whole body is full of light, with no part of it in darkness, it will be as full of light as when a lamp gives you light with its rays. I accept wholeness as the divine blueprint of my being. Could you repeat that with me, please? I accept wholeness as the divine blueprint of my being. And so it is. And now it's time for Reverend Charles, and his message today, you might understand what the donkey song was. His message today is donkeys and such.
I hadn't heard that song before, John. That's just delightful, and you meet the exuberance of this morning and the liveliness our friends bring with us. I see your light, John, and that also Blythe. You really, both of you carry a light, and to be in a service together is really a privilege. Well, Pet Blessing Sunday is a time when I think we pause to realize just the part that all of the creatures in our world, the part they play in our lives, and how whole that togetherness is. And this morning I do want to talk about donkeys, and I want to begin with a story, a serious story, and I think it's one that you will recognize. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. The 12 disciples are with him. They're coming from Nazareth, which is 2 or 3 days' walk. And he is going to Jerusalem in order to speak truth to power, to confront power. And of course, he's riding a donkey. As they come over a rise, and Jesus sees Jerusalem in the near distance, he stops and he begins to weep. And the disciples quickly gather around him. They're confounded and they're a little bewildered. Here's Jesus, always so strong and composed, who's constantly helping others with their tears. He is the one weeping. Would that even today you knew the things that make for peace. That's what Jesus says to them. Those are curious words. Would that even today you knew the things that make for peace. What does Jesus see? The Jerusalem he's looking at, surely he's seeing the dark walls that surround that city. He sees the flags fluttering, maybe the graceful dome of the temple over the walls. But especially he sees at each gate there are soldiers, armed soldiers, Roman soldiers. What Jesus sees in that sacred city is one occupied by foreign soldiers, occupied by violence. As you and I look at our world, distant and near, I think we see very much what Jesus saw. And that is a world darkened by wars and by occupations. And nearby, we see a country where mass shootings happen every few days, every week. We see an ongoing epidemic of bullying in our schools, mean language in the marketplace, and so much entertainment that is really based on violence. So how, like Jesus, how could we not weep? But Jesus' words are not without a note of hope. Would that even today you knew the things that make for peace. Even today. So it's not too late. Not yet. There is today. Well, Unity is a peace church. You and I know some of the things that make for peace, and together I think we could make a long list of those things. Forgiveness, sharing, a reverence for all life. But this morning I want to emphasize just one thing that makes for peace. And to do that, I share another part of another story with you. It's written by a Spanish writer, Juan Ramón Jiménez. He's a good writer. He won the Nobel Peace Prize. And he tells a story in which an old man talks about and sometimes talks to his donkey, whose name is Platero, and some of you may know that story. It's titled Platero and I. It begins with this description. Platero is a small donkey, a soft, hairy donkey, so soft that to touch, he might be said to be made of cotton, with no bones. I turn him loose and he goes to the meadow, and with his nose he gently caresses the little flowers. I call him softly, Platero, and he comes to me at a gay little trot. He eats whatever I give him, but he likes mandarin oranges, amber-hued muscatel grapes, purple figs tipped with crystalline drops of honey. He is as loving and tender as a child, but strong and sturdy as a rock. I think we could all say something similar to that about the creatures in our lives, but I love the softness of that and the love in those words. In the book of Genesis, During creation, God notices that Adam is alone. And so we're told that creatures are created in order that Adam have companionship. And I love that word, companion. Most of us, and maybe most of us beginning in childhood, have a pet. And of course, there's quite a range. Some pets are quite exotic. Cheetahs and boa constrictors. And there are other pets that are simply beautiful, parrots and coral fish, and some pets are quite useful. Maybe they're not quite pets. Goats and horses come to mind. But most of us choose a creature to bring into our home and into the intimacy of our lives who we can hold and hug and who have a way of returning our affections, like dogs and cats. And they become our friends. About Platero, Jimenez writes, "Platero and I understand each other. I let him go at his fancy, and he always takes me where I want to go. If the road is rough or a little too hard for him, I get down to make it easy for him. I kiss him. I tease him mercilessly. He knows that I love him, and he bears me no grudge. He is so like me, so different from the rest, that I have come to believe that he actually dreams my dreams. I know that I am his happiness. He even avoids donkeys and humans." Well, Jesus enters Jerusalem, and he does not do it by riding a white stallion and leading an army. Instead, he comes on this humblest of creatures, a donkey. So like him. Jesus describes himself. He says, "I am meek and gentle in heart." I love those words. I am meek and gentle in heart. So entering the gate, before he even says a word to power, Jesus' message is clear. I do not come with a sword. I come to give you the revolution, the lasting peace that follows love, sacrificial love. It's hard. It's hard for all of us to follow and believe in the power of love, to believe in it absolutely. Because in the corners of each of our hearts, there are shadows. Fear of the other. Fear that there's not going to be enough for me and my family. Fear that if I don't dominate, others will dominate me. And those fears become a reality. They form themselves in the world as planes and as bombs and as wars. Talking to Platero, Jimenez is honest about one part of his own shadow. He says, "Why was I there at the cockfight? Who took me there? There was a smell of new wine, of belched sausage, of tobacco. The fighting pit was small, and it was flanked by congested faces, vulgar faces. The vulgar hearts showed through the eyes, bloodshot with wine, the heat and the excitement of carnage. The shouts came from their eyes. The poor cocks were tearing each other, spiking each other's eyes, piercing one another in rhythmic leaps with man's hate, goring each other completely with their lemoned or poisoned spurs. They made no noise at all. They saw nothing. They were not even there. But what about me? Why was I there and so sick? I don't know. And yet I did not leave." Well, that's how it is, isn't it? When we're alone with our pet, our companion, we have a way of talking to them out loud or in our own minds. And we confide in them, and often we confess to them the things that would be so hard to admit to anyone else. When we're feeling low, they sometimes know to come and sit with us, or we'll take a walk with them, and somehow they take in what we are carrying. With our pets, I believe we are our most honest selves, and we come to know ourselves in very special ways through them. When my son Gabriel, who's now 22, was young, he really wanted a dog. And so his mother, here comes the blame, his mother and Gabriel chose a Jack Russell Terrier. Those are sometimes nicknamed Jack Russell terrorists. And this was a sweet little dog, seven weeks old, brown and white puppy. And Gabriel named her Peaches Murray Valentine Busch. Now there's a name. Peaches because she is quite beautiful, a bit of a peach. Murray because she's constant entertainment and funny like the comedian Bill Murray. Valentine because she does have a sweetheart, and of course Busch because she's very much part of the family. I wanted a larger, more huggable, more easygoing breed. Maybe a Labrador Retriever or a Labrador Retriever. Well, Peaches is now 12, and as it turns out, I'm the one who feeds her most of the time. I'm the one who walks her. She goes with me in the car on errands, and so she's become my little buddy. And I see her as my teacher, and maybe this will resonate with you. She's taught me a lot. First of all, she's taught me how easily I can be provoked to anger by small things. For instance, her snatching a tuna sandwich out of my hand. Maybe that's not so small. And she's taught me humility, and that's the humility that comes of the years it took me to forgive her for not being a Labrador. It took that long. And most of all, her complete trust in me and in Gabriel, my wife. Her complete trust in us has taught me to trust more, to trust that I too am held and will be provided for today and tomorrow. Well, looking at Platero, Jimenez saw even more than a teacher. He writes this: when at dusk Platero returns from the country with his light load of pine branches, Platero does a little work. When he returns with his light load of pine branches for the fire, he almost disappears under all of that green. The tender humility of the loaded donkey begins to seem almost divine. Almost divine. All of you know that the price for the companionship of these beautiful creatures is that most of them have shorter lifespans than we do. And so they die, and we grieve. We all grieve. Many of us look forward to seeing these noble creatures again in the next life. I imagine the several dogs and the one cat I've kept company with to be there at the gate, first to welcome me and the first to recommend me for entrance. Jimenez writes, I found Platero lying on his bed of straw, eyes soft and sad. I went to him, stroked him, talking to him and trying to help him stand. The poor fellow quivered, started to rise, one forefoot bent under, and he could not get up. At noon, Platero was dead. His little cotton-like stomach had swollen like a globe, and his rigid, discolored legs were raised to heaven. So the old man grieves. The soul he shares with Platero seems to be adrift. And he goes on, this afternoon I went with the children to to Potero's grave, a low mound that lies in the orchard at the foot of a round fatherly pine tree. April had adorned the damp earth with large yellow lilies. As soon as we arrived, the children stopped shouting. Quiet and sober, their bright eyes following mine, they plied me with anxious questions. "Friend Potero," I said to the earth, "if, as I believe, you are now in a heavenly meadow and carrying angel children on your hairy back, have you forgotten me, perhaps? Tell me, Potero, do you still remember me?" And as if answering my question, a white butterfly, soft and smooth as woven petals, fluttered gently like a soul from lily to lily. Would that even today, Jesus said, you knew the things that make for peace. You and I do know. And of the list we could make of the things that make for peace, choosing one of God's creatures to live together is one. I think they bring out the tenderness in us, and we can feel the peace of simply being together. Well, I think it's time to bless these beautiful creatures who have been kind enough to bless us. I'll come down and stand in the middle. Blythe has certificates. I'll ask the name. So if you'll come one at a time, we'll do it very leisurely. This is Chloe. May God and the Spirit bless and enter you, Chloe. Your silky long ears remind us of the beauty that is in you and moves out into us to gentle us. Thank you for your silky beauty. Thank you for your presence. Amen.
We have treats for you too. I don't know if you want to do something with that. Got a biscuit.
Okay.
She won't eat a biscuit. But she'll eat a peanut butter trip. Who's up? This is Jen.
Blessings upon you, Ben. We feel your warmth, see your beautiful black and white spots. We see you sniffing and curious about life. You teach us to be curious about all things and show interest. Thank you for your presence. Blessings on you. Amen.
Get it, feel it, breathe it.
What's this for?
Bella.
Bella. You were small, but you were also so large. Blessings upon you, Bella. We love your whispers. We love your bright eyes. Thank you for the way you see us with love and with trust. Amen. And Bella's friend is?
And he's my buddy Rio.
Oh, blessings on you. Thank you for your size, that you lift your ears, that you may hear more than what is said. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for the innocence of your wife. You remind us of so much. Ruby. Oh, Ruby, I've seen you before, Ruby. Blessings on you, Ruby. Thank you for your gentleness, which is contagious. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your being. Amen. I know Buddy, and when Michael comes to our house, Buddy runs around and I think dispenses this enthusiasm. So if I've been slow and a little begrudging about the blessing of the day, Buddy always reminds me that I need to be running around and get with it a little bit. Blessings on you, Buddy. Thank you for showing a little age. Thank you for your energy that you disperse. We love you, and we thank you for your love. Amen. What is your friend's name?
This is Doug.
Doug?
D-A-U-D-I.
D-A-U-I-D-E.
This is Doug.
Now, I heard a rumor about you that you didn't always get along with other dogs, but you do very well with children and people. And that's why our Peaches is not respected today, because she doesn't do so well. Now, blessings on you. Thank you for coming, for braving this company and making us braver. Blessings, healing, fullness of life in you. Amen. Thank you for coming out. God was such an unusual name.
Unusual song.
And here comes Duke. I met Duke when Duke was a puppy. And Duke is still as beautiful.
He's still
as ever. This is it, Duke. Blessings on you, Duke. Thank you for your beauty, the beauty you share. Blessings, help all through you. Thank you for teaching us to wag. Amen.
I need to work on cooking on this.
Oh. One of the things in Scripture is that the last shall be first.
Precious has been banned.
Okay. Well, with that, I want to say a prayer for all of those pets and creatures that share your life who may have been too large to come. I always think, won't it be wonderful if somebody brings a llama or a donkey? And that hasn't happened. But we remember those creatures and bless them in their homes. And we give gratitude to them. So we send that out with you with love. And thanks for bringing your companions today. Thanks.
John, you're up.
So this is a song for all our friends here. Bill Staines wrote it. He's a guy from somewhere back east up in New England. Well, all God's creators got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks. Hippopotamus moans and groans with a big to-do. Old cow just goes moo. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle while the honeybee hums. Cricket fiddles and the donkey brays and the pony neighs. Old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. And listen to the top where the little bird sings on the melodies with the high notes ringing and the hoot owl hollers over everything. Jaybird disagrees. Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day. The little duck quacks and he's on his way. Possum ain't got much to say and the porcupine talks to himself. Oh, all God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. And some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a living sung everywhere by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, grumpy alligator and the hawk above, sly raccoon and the turtle dove. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. All right, now I'll hand it back to somebody else. Except I think the somebody else are putting their dogs away in the car.